I'm finally doing my garden tour for July. I'm actually early compared to the June one, so let's get started. Let's see what's going on. It's not very good, I can tell you. Lots of bugs, lots of heat. It's still a garden. It's still beautiful. Look at the sun coming up behind. If you're new, I'm Jackie from Famished Farm, and we are going to take a walk around the yard here, and I'll show you how the garden's looking. We're going to start over at the lettuce growing table and where my herbs are. This is my herb garden, and I grow basil, dill, some parsley around the other side there, and I do have a pot where I keep some cuttings, and I just threw some onion tops, green onion tops in there, and see what comes up. This is also the area that my dog Tilly likes to search for lizards and toads and anything that creeps around. So she has been known to dig through these, to chew on them, like that one there, and just generally disrupt this whole area. It's a miracle anything grows. Down the road, we have plans to make this into a water feature with a little fountain or a bubbler or something along those lines. And as Tilly is not a water dog, that should work out. Fingers crossed. There's my beautiful dill. Here's my lettuce growing table, and I have 4 pots. The 2 bigger ones on the left here are bolted. So I pretty much pulled all those and let them set to the side. I did leave a couple little plants that we'll see if anything comes of them. If not, I may just cover these with cardboard until I start growing more in the fall, and we'll see what happens. Just can't help myself. Got to weed a little bit while I'm there. The pot to the right is my Swiss chard, and that has done fantastic this year. Still has a few leaves on it, so I'm going to let that go a while. And then my sorrel, my first time growing that, that's from M.I. Gardner, was delicious. This is one of 2 Suffolk grapes. The other one's just down the line here. And I planted those this year, and I'm starting to train them on the wires of the trellis, or the arbor in this case. And I just never remember to do it. So this time I'm going to do it. Yuck. Yep. Japanese beetles all over. So we're going to just take a minute to pick a cane and get it trained up on the wire. And then I'll clip each of them, clip the extra canes off for now. This is just my second year doing grapes. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Here's the second grape plant down the way. And when I step back to kind of see if I clipped it okay, it's beautiful. It looks like it's just going to be beautifully trained on these wires that we put up. This was kind of the weaker of the 2 plants that I put in, but it turns out beautiful. I think it's going to do well. The other one is here, a little more growth to the right side, which will be fine. And then an improved Meyer lemon on the right, a Key West or a key lime on the left, and maybe we'll get those in the ground one day. This is our herb drifted raspberry. One of them survived. That's a tree growing up in the middle of that. And then here's the one that unfortunately just was too sick. It did not make it. Then just beside them, the lilac I planted when we first moved in, another victim of herbicide drift that may make it. This is the sage the previous owner had in with one little purple bloom left on it. It bloomed beautifully this year. And then I've added a rosemary, actually added 2. That's the first one, and that's the second one that I've killed. Those were grown from seed. Here's the garden. This is looking toward the northeast. And this is part of the raspberry that I've taken out most of the blueberries this year. It's got a little section kind of dying off. That was new growth. Not sure why that would die off, but It has. This is the blueberry that dropped all its berries or something happened to it. Had a ton of little green blueberries on it and didn't, it's produced a handful of berries. To the back of the blueberries are my two plants that I bought from Walmart. These are San Marzano paste tomatoes. They're doing well. Haven't had any ripen on the vine yet, but I'm here to start. I'm picking them quickly. My strawberries are not happy. Too much hard rain and too much sun, maybe too many pests, who knows. And to the left there is my cantaloupe, which is also not a happy camper. It does have one fruit on it. This was another volunteer I'm just let going. Just past the cantaloupe and the strawberries in the corner here is the Victoria rhubarb I planted this year. Also, is this heat? I don't know. Leaves, there is something munching on it potentially, but a little bit of stress going on of some kind. Another look at the strawberries. And then this is the big, vibrant cucumber that is now showing signs of distress. With those couple of big fruits down there, those were the first fruits that set, those three. And I have since cut those fruits off, and I would like to discover what's going on here. Is this heat? Is this something eating it? Just not sure what the pests are for cantaloupe. And then onto my corn crop. And I'm very happy with the corn, except the wind has taken some of that down. I'll show you that in a later shot where we get a better view of it. We'll come around and show you the beans. This is a Three Sisters plot. So we had squash, beans, and corn. The beans I planted when the plants were a foot high, and that was too late. The first couple of ones here are three plants that have survived thus far. I planted one every 6 inches, so obviously we've had a lot that didn't come up. That one looks the best there. This is the third volunteer cantaloupe, also with the same kind of stress going on. Not sure what the problem is. Here you can see the sweet corn, the cabbage that I have since cut out that needed to come out, and the watermelon. The watermelon are loving this spot. There's a big melon coming on right over here. And that pumpkin I planted just a few weeks ago is doing great right here. While I'm here, I decide to go ahead and pick one of these ears of corn. I've spied a ear of corn that looks really great, and let me show it to you. I've forgotten how to pull corn off the stalk, apparently. But here it comes, my very first ear of sweet corn that I've ever grown. Me, with my own hands. I'm thrilled. Then we'll move on past the bird bath here, which is perpetually in need of water this time of year. And I will show you, this is an acorn squash with a dead nasturtium in front of it. And my peanuts, first I'm going to show you how it looks down in the center. There is a fruit there that I've got on a board, which you really couldn't see. Then my peanuts, I just don't know anything about peanuts. Something is munching on them. Yeah, do they flower, or is everything just going on underground? Oh, look, there's a red Roma tomato, the first fully ripe red Roma that I've had set on the plants. And I've got, I don't know, five or so Romas in this area. Most of these are the stunted ones that I planted. Here is my pole beans, and I believe this is all Japanese beetle damage. I took a couple of beetles off the other day just using soapy water. And then my Anaheim, and I've got a bell pepper hidden under there, under the marigold. And look, I find a little Anaheim pepper started. And then look, a little tiny mini green pepper started. And this is about like the harvest that I got last year on the bell peppers that I planted. In front of the pole beans growing up the trellis, I put in a couple bush beans, a small row, I think 6 plants, 6 seeds. This is the only one that came up. It gave me about 5 or 6 beans, and it's just not doing much. I've replanted the seeds just recently. We'll see if anything comes up. I took some more of those contender bush beans and also planted them in this middle planter where the quinoa never came up. And we'll see what happens there. This is a nasturtium that I have pulled out since. And then we have my kidney beans down below, moving on to the zucchini, which is doing better than the one beside it. They're both producing though. And then some tomatoes behind. Those are Romas. There's some dill and basil behind there too. The big red tomato is still plodding along. I don't know that it will ever amount to much. And here's that red tomato with some insect damage. And it's totally fine. We've got tons of tomatoes that are going to be coming on, and if the insects want some, they can have them. Here's some more. You can see the stress, I'm guessing again from heat down at the bottom of the plant, but this is a volunteer cherry tomato. And oh, yes, this is not kidney beans, that's the black beans. And this is the zucchini kind of growing into the aisle. This is the first one that came up, and those yellow leaves are from the acorn squash next to it, which is next to, these are the kidney beans. And I harvested 2 of those kidney bean plants the other day. Nope, not black beans, kidney beans. So I've never grown dried beans before, or beans for drying. So here I am about to harvest this plant. The bean pods are crunchy, which I understand is when you can take the plant out. So I'm just going to cut it at the soil line. And I do this with 2 of the plants. The third one is there. I think there's a fourth one too that are just not ready. So we'll put that over to the side. And then, sorry, this is kind of out of the frame. This other one I'm going to work on. The one that is right in front of me, it's still too green. I'm going to let that mature some more. So I just have moved those into a paper bag and put them down in my basement, and I'll just wait for everything to completely dry up before I guess I'll shuck those beans out of their pods. But I'm pretty happy so far. These are super easy, quick, I think 50 days to maturity. And if I decide to grow, in fact, I'm going to put more seeds in the ground because we've got plenty of time. I have plenty of time to harvest more. But if I could grow a year's worth of kidney beans in one of these little planters, that's a win. Now we're going to move on. This is the original carrots that I've gotten just a few like baby carrot size out of them. And I added some onions in. This is this poor acorn squash. And first time growing acorn squash. I don't know what is going on. This was kind of like this when we got home from being gone up to Illinois. Haven't had time to research it, but something obviously. And I guess there's squash bugs and borers and who knows. I just am unsure where to even begin. I'm probably going to end up just cutting that out and starting over. This is my marigold that's kind of flopping over. And I've harvested a lettuce from below there. This is a pole bean that's languishing, the first bean that it's produced. Then I'll come around the back side here, and you can see that's a tomatilla that I will end up letting go onto the trellis where the other pole beans should have come up. This is cucumbers. I'm apparently a very good cucumber farmer so far anyway. I've made pickles, chow chow, and an onion relish. And I'm kind of investigating to see how many I can pick. And then there's a tomatillo on the other side of this cucumber that I'm going to also trellis up. This sweet little ladder trellis I have. The mammoth snow peas were not mammoth for me. That was the whole reason for the trellis. And I've since planted where these were going to go. I planted some more pole beans. This is a Roma tomato. And I'm going to trellis that. There's actually a cage. It's grown out of the cage, but I'll just let the trellis support it for now. But these Romas are doing very well. Both the ones I bought 2 plants from the farmer's market, and then the rest from my stunted starts that I did. Here's a basil and a dill coming along. And then the next thing are some pole beans that have actually done their job. The Japanese beetles are kind of getting these, so I've been using my soapy water in a little cup to pick them off. We'll see if we can get those under control and keep the pole bean actually trellised. Down in front, we have Latham raspberries with a couple strawberries around them. I am going to do a wire trellis along the fence to keep these raspberries contained against the fence. So far, I've liked this kind of aisle underneath the trellis, and I want to do the same thing next year. And then this is the elderberry that is now, I'm making sure to remember it to give it water. It's got some weed pressure coming from behind the fence, One of the 2 raspberries I planted last year is doing good. The other one is the brown one back in the distance. And then I put up these little green garden stakes to help with the corn that was pushed over and a big wind we got. I'm not sure that will work, that it will, if the damage hasn't already been done, I don't know. But I'm thinking that will help keep them upright so they can come to maturity. Now, while I'm here, I start noticing all these big ears of corn. And I'm pulling down the silks and just the first couple of inches of the husk. And my golly, there is some more corn in here. So I end up coming back after I filmed this video, and I end up pulling out almost a dozen perfect ears of corn. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? When we were kids, Dad grew a part of the field into sweet corn for us kids to make money at the county fair. So I think he's smiling down on me right now. Hey guys, well, that's our garden tour for July. Happy July 4th again. So the story this month is, if you have to leave your garden, expect bad things when you come back. And I think just we're on like week 4 of 90 plus degrees. We've not had great rain. My watering system is imperfect. And the broken heel has meant I'm not out here like I should be. It's a beautiful morning. And it's still cool. I haven't sweat through my cap yet. So thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you in the next time I'm out in the garden. We'll do some more corn harvesting and maybe preserving.